Hey again, people. Well, these officers shoot this guy, and this one might be justified. Although I think anytime I say it's justified, I'm meaning per the law, per what the cops did, it's going to be ruled justified. Personally, most all shootings that are justified now could be handled differently to where loss of life wouldn't have to happen. But I mean, it's kind of a moot point to even discuss that because government's not going to do it. Nobody else cares. Why should they care? And they just keep killing people left and right. All right, here we go. I didn't read. This is on police activity, and I didn't read the description because I don't know what exactly. So I'm just going to give you my evaluation of what I'm seeing the cops doing as they do it. Here we go.
Any officer?
What is the address of the emergency? Is that in Phoenix?
Yeah, it's a Phoenix.
Okay. And what is the emergency occurring?
Yeah, that last week somebody hit me with a knife, and I'm going to the hospital for a couple of days, and the police looking for the guy. The guy is right here.
Okay, so the call is going to be, look, we have a 245, well, a 245 in California. I don't know what Arizona is. Basically assault with a deadly weapon, maybe an attempted murder. The guy stabbed this guy. Cops already have a report. It was reported the guy went to the hospital, and now the stabbing suspect is there. So this would usually move to a high priority call. It would move to the top, above the barking dogs, etc. You know, the cops out there writing speeding tickets would still be tied up writing tickets, so they wouldn't clear. But the regular cops who are not assigned to something right now would be dispatched to this as a priority call because this is a felony. Although it isn't a felony in progress, we have a dangerous armed felon who committed a dangerous act, and now we know where he's at. So hopefully the detectives of this agency would be monitoring the radio. They would hear this, and whoever was working this case of the stabbing would come on and go, yes, hey guys, units responding to this call. You're looking for Jose Garcia. Here's his description. He's known to buy this car. There's PC to arrest him, or I'm working on a warrant. We'll have a warrant by the end of the day, but go ahead and arrest him for probable cause. So cops can arrest for a PC, and any cop, I mean, I've put out many times, I'll have a suspect or something, and I will put out a bolo, be on the lookout, and I will say PC to arrest. And any cop can arrest him based on my saying there's probable cause to arrest him. So this guy is definitely arrestable for a violent felony. This ought to be a priority up to the top call.
And try to do the same thing again.
He has a knife?
Yeah, he's trying to kill me again.
Oh, well, it just changed more. Now it's not a old call with probable cause. Now we have an ongoing, in progress, violent felony. I remember Stockton for a while because Stockton in California is another liberal shithole where diversity is our strength and all the other crap. Basically, they were so busy that they refused, the police, the government that you pay taxes for, refused to respond to any call. Get this, I mean, I was just shocked when they put this out publicly. Any call that was not a active, violent felony in progress. So if you were stabbed and the guy left, they wouldn't come out. File your report online. If you were raped and went to the hospital, they wouldn't come out. File your report online. I mean, it was, when they put that out, I was working. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? The public that's paying taxes in this community is allowing the police to go, hey, unless you're actively being killed, we're not going to waste our time responding. Now, what in reality was, they had so many active, ongoing felonies that their officers were going call to call for active felony violent crime in progress. So, of course, government would now say, well, if you want more cops and you want us to respond, we need more money, we need more taxes, we need more training, more money for taxes, raise the taxes. If you people want protection, you have to pay. And no matter what you pay, sooner or later, a few years later, you'll have to pay more if you want to keep it. That's why when you give government the ability to give you something, you give government the ability to take it away whenever they choose and hold you in extortion and make you pay to get it back. But I digress. Here we go.
Are you on foot or in a vehicle?
He's in the house.
No, are you on foot or in a vehicle?
No, I'm walking on the street.
Okay, I always say don't get involved. I can't tell you the number of calls I was dispatched on where it gets confusing. Dispatcher messes up. If I gotten calls where I was calling something in when I was off duty or something, or I was in my undercover car and I didn't really want to get involved, so I was just calling in information or I was assisting, never give your description or your vehicle description. It's none of their business. And it's too damn easy for the dispatcher to screw it up, or for the cops who have a radio going on and they're checking their phone and they're driving and they're yelling at somebody cutting them off and they hear in the background a blue Ford. And then you driving a blue Ford and they think you're the suspect and you end up getting either pit, slammed, or they pull you over and let the bad guy go. Never give your description of your car or yourself. Okay, now the only exception to that is maybe if you don't want the cops to kill you and you're walking out of a house and they go walk out with your hands up, or you're in a business and the alarm goes off and they go walk out with your hands up. Then you might want to say, I'm walking out, I'm the good guy, I'm the owner, I'm the manager, this is what I'm wearing and my hands are up. Then it makes your case stronger. Otherwise, don't ever give 911 your vehicle description or your description, or you may end up being confused by our highly trained, highly effective government that never makes mistakes as the bad guy because you gave them a description of yourself. It's none of their damn business. If it was up to me, 911 wouldn't even ask, because they're asking in the spirit of, well, we want to know who the good guy is. We want to be able to tell the officer who the good guy is so they don't mistake you. The fact is they will mistake you. The only thing they need to know is, who am I looking for? Which is the bad guy. It's not you. They don't need to look for you. They don't need to look for your vehicle. Therefore, they don't need your description or your vehicle description. In my opinion, you can do what you want. Other cops come here, Rick, why are you telling people not to cooperate with us? We're out there being heroes, doing a tough job, and you're turning people against. I ain't turning you. Your freaking behavior's turning them against. I'm just calling you out, you freaking little pansy badge polisher.
So he's inside the house and you're walking, so he's not trying to hurt you?
When I go to the house, he got a knife and trying to kill me again.
Is Eric white, black, Hispanic, Native American?
It's a Mexican.
How old?
Like 28.
I'm surprised the dispatcher didn't say, oh, you can't say Mexican. That's not politically correct. He's either Hispanic, Native American, African American. Let me come up with all the politically correct names, because we can't communicate anymore by just communicating. Liberal PC has taken away common sense of communicating, of commonly used language, and now everything is offensive. But she didn't. Anyway.
How tall is he?
It's not so big, like one. Como que sí.
Can't you tell the guy having a problem communication? Why is the dispatcher trying to ask him questions that he really can't even articulate? Why don't you just get Now, I get it. In a lot of agencies, there's two dispatchers. So this dispatcher is just typing in information. But if they're effective in doing it right, she's already sent this to somebody who can put this out on a computer or Audible and let the units know, hey, we got a felony in progress, guy with a knife, possible, armed assault going on right now. Suspect already committed it once. Hopefully that's already out, and now she's just trying to get more information. However, I've seen dispatchers that will do this shit and screw around for 5 or 10 minutes before they ever let the cops know or get them heading in that direction. Now, sometimes good dispatchers, again, as soon as they get the call, they'll say, hold on one second, let me get officers en route. And they'll put out, officers getting more information right now, possible suspect with a knife, armed assault at this address. Units start heading that way. I'll give you more, or more to follow, whatever. And that way the officers can kind of, okay, let me get my shit together. Let me start rolling. That way it gets them closer. And that's back when we used to care about pesky citizens and we actually did things for the community. Now, who cares? If it takes me 15 minutes to get out of this guy, if he's dead, then I'll just tell the cops to, hey, call an ambulance because the guy's dead while you get there.
5'4". 5'4".
Skinny, medium, heavy?
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Is he balding? Losing his hair? What color is his hair? Is it just black, or is it black and gray? Is there tones? Is there highlights? Come on, lady!
While on the phone with dispatchers, officers from the Maryvale-Estrella Mountain precinct arrived on scene, meeting with the victim and gathering more information from him.
Okay, so cops get there, and again, this is being put out. It looks like, I don't know who's talking, if this is the police, if this is police activity, adding in what's going on, I don't know. But It just cuts to this area that they're getting more information, and then it cuts to this.
Almost done.
So he did all that to you, or did they operate on you?
No, he sticks the knife right here,
Oh, okay, I see it.
Dude, I don't care if he did all that. If he stabbed him and he needed an operation, we have the elements for assault with a deadly weapon. What the hell? What are you going to put in there? Well, he had 42 stitches instead of 56 stitches. Or he had multiple stabs instead of a single stab. Does that make the crime different? The elements of the crime is there. Why is this cop asking these questions? I don't know.
4 times.
The man leads officers to a residence on Glenrosa, telling them one man had a knife and another had a gun.
And you said somebody in there has a gun?
Yeah.
What's the suspect's name?
Eric.
Eric?
Eric.
E-R-I-C-K or C?
Eric.
You know his last name?
No, I don't know. It's just Eric.
He's Hispanic?
Yes, Hispanic.
Officers arrived at the residence and made contact with several people. At 1:25 p.m., they make the first contact with James Garcia, who was inside a vehicle in the driveway.
Okay, so we're looking for Eric. We don't know his last name. They make contact with multiple subjects. Again, I'm not sure because of the way this jumps around. When I was a cop responding to an ADW or assault with a deadly weapon, and there was already a case, I would have already had the report while I was driving there. Pull that report or pull up the call log for this address on where it happened and give me the suspect name and description from the previous call log. I wouldn't have to spend time talking to the victim, but whatever.
This car running?
Okay, here's where we get into some legal mumbo-jumbo kind of if, and, buts, and coconuts. So they're called and they make contact with somebody. They're looking for a guy named Eric. But because they know that somebody's inside, possibly armed and dangerous, which doesn't appear like they think that because they're walking around freaking not, they don't have anybody with guns on the house. They're not ordering anybody out. They don't have people prone. They're not doing interviews with a backstop behind a car. They're standing out in the open in front of a house. So for them to say, later it's going to be because they end up killing this guy in a car. Later it's going to be, well, we were responding to a violent call where there's possibly injury, and therefore for officer safety, we had to contact this guy who was sleeping in his car and had no reason to contact him. Now, if I was on the scene, would I contact this guy? Absolutely. I don't want him sitting there with a car running with me standing in front of it. However, I wouldn't be standing in front of him and standing in front of a house where I had a suspect supposedly armed with a knife and or a gun and had already committed violence. So again, this is where behavior, totality of circumstances, this is where the defense attorney is going to be. They'll get in here and go, officers, you said you were inferior life and you had to contact this guy because you were inferior life and you had to control the scene. Yet you guys were talking to people in wide open. You weren't using any cover and concealment. There was no behavior that you were treating the situation as dangerous. It only became dangerous when you did your report after you killed this guy. Now, that's just part of the reason. Now, I think the shooting's going to be justified, but the contact is going to be questioned. Why would you contact? If I was here, why would I contact this guy? My explanation would be, look, I'm at a scene where a possible crime happened. We've got multiple parties. We still haven't identified, if they haven't, which I don't know, but I'm assuming they haven't identified Eric yet because they'd have him hands up and in custody. So they haven't got Eric yet, and they're trying to figure out what's going on, so we've got a scene. Anybody on the scene, let's ID him and find out maybe this guy's Eric. Maybe I would have said, hey, it was a Hispanic guy. I could have used the officer safety that it was running, it was facing me, and the guy could have ran away. Of course, if that was the case, I'd be running. Anytime I showed up on an incident, all plates at the house were run. Sometimes we would just say flip. In Vallejo, it would be flip a plate. In other places, it would be log a plate. And when I show up to a scene, I log every plate I can read. And I get dispatch get pissed off because I'd be calling in 7, 8 plates. But I don't care. I want every plate that's attached to this vehicle, because if shit hits the fan and vehicles start leaving and people scatter, I want to know later. And if I end up getting killed, the investigators will have all these leads of all these owners of all these plates as either witnesses potentially there. Why was their car there? Who do they know? Who lives there? Who ran away? It's just good procedure to log all the plates when you're responding to a felony like this. But that's what I would have done. I would have logged this plate, and then I would ask who the RO is, that's the registered owner, And then I would have confirmed that this guy actually owns his car to make sure I don't have a stolen car. Another reason you run plates is sometimes you show up and we run plates and in the freaking driveway is a stolen car. And we're like, shit, that's some good PC for how the hell did this car get here and why is it here? So, I mean, again, I'm not sure why. I'm assuming this officer is going to say, hey, we were trying to identify Eric. This guy was looking, officer safety. I decided to find out he was behind a car. Therefore, he's got the ability to drive. The car was running. If he's driving a car or has operational care, custody, control of the car with the keys in it is running, therefore he's driving it for constructive purposes. He's constructive driving if he's got the car started. I could charge him with DUI right now. So I can easily ID him and ask him for a license.
You alright, man?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Yeah?
See, the guy starts off with, you're all right, because he's making it a consensual encounter. By saying, are you all right, he's not exerting or explaining his authority to stop. If he rolled down his window and said, hey, guy, police, we're here on a call of a possible armed guy. Your car's running, you're driving. Let me see your driver's license. And, if you're not the guy we're looking for, we'll get you on your way. That would have been a lawful kind of detention that he wanted to see his license and he would state a law. When he says, are you all right, he's setting up a consensual encounter. His thing is going to be, hey, I was there, officer safety. I wanted to make sure the guy was all right. I'm just being, oh, hang on, let me get this phone call. Okay, sorry, we're back. And I don't know where I was, but we'll just continue and I'll probably repeat it. And I have somebody crying in the comments. Oh, you repeated yourself and wasted my time.
Yeah, my cousin's inside waiting on you first.
Just gotta shut the car off and come over here, man.
Okay, so he said, my cousin's inside and I'm waiting for him. That's a legitimate reason. He's on private property. Why is he having him shut his car off and come over here? He's going to say, for officer safety, I didn't want him in a car. I don't know what his intention. I don't know if he's involved. His cousin may be the shooter. He may have assisted his cousin. I mean, this is going to be easy to articulate later. The guy really doesn't, and that's the problem with cops nowadays, is they don't explain to the person what they're doing. They're just like, do what I tell you or I'll shoot you. And that's where we're losing government accountability, and that's why government is getting so tyrannical, is they're like, we don't report to you, pesky citizens. We don't have to explain everything. We don't care what you know and what you don't know. You do what we tell you or we shoot you. And that's the state of affairs that we're in, unfortunately.
Sorry?
You got no weapons on you?
Why am I getting out?
Because we're doing an investigation here and I don't want you sitting in the car while I'm talking to somebody passed out.
So this cop kind of stepped on his pee-pee here, because in court it'll be like, if he was passed out, why are you worried about him? Cop says, I don't want you in the car passed out. If he's passed out, why are you worried about him? You woke him up and now you want to get him out of the car. Why? Now, this is going to be, officer safety, look, when you're on a scene where a violence occurred and you get in these neighborhoods where there's multiple people, you just got, usually, it's going to sound, bootleg jackhammer or whatever you want to call it. But normally you just snag everybody, cuff them up and ID them. You're at a house, you're at a location where possible felonies either occurring and or has occurred, and there's possible weapons involved. I ain't got time to screw around with you. I'm going to cuff everybody and we'll figure it out later. Now, you may not like that, but when you're in the hood or you're in a violent place, again, I don't know anything about this address. If I'm responding to something like this, again, depending on how long my response is, I'll get on dispatch on the way and go, dispatch 721, what's the resident history on this address? And they'll punch up the address, and the resident history will tell me every time they've called 911, every time this address has been mentioned in a 911 call, every time we've had a loud party, arrest, crimes, etc. And that gives me an idea. A lot of times I'll run an address and it'll say, last contact, probation search. Time before that was a parole search for Eric. Time before that was a probation search for Jose. The time before that was a parole search for Tyrone. Now, I know this house is full of a bunch of parolees if the last 5 contacts were parole searches. So that gives me an idea of how it goes. I don't know what the resident history is. Another resident history will be this address flagged for officer safety. The last time officers went there, last 3 times, they ended up in a fight and arresting the 3 different people with these weapons involved. So that's another indication of resident history. Another bad indication is it may be a good guy and they'll say, last call was this person was a witness to a crime and he identified himself as owning weapons. So now there's an officer safety on his house because he's a good guy and he's a witness, but he has weapons. That's why I don't think the government needs to know if you have weapons, but I digress. Here we go.
Conversation continues as the officer tries to convince Garcia to get out of the vehicle and over to a safe area.
I don't know who's talking in the background here. They're giving detailed information like they have inside information, but they're not saying who they are, who's talking.
Put your hands on the wheel, man. Both hands on the wheel. Okay, we're investigating a crime at this house.
This conversation continues with Garcia giving the officer a false name and birthday, and even admitting to a misdemeanor warrant.
Well, you're passed out in the driveway in front of the... We're talking. I don't want to get hit, so...
Oh, you're not going to get hit?
Well, come on, step up.
Well, what did I do?
You're not in trouble, but step up.
What did I do, though? That's what I'm asking you. What did I do? Like, you're not going to get in trouble.
Okay, I've said this before as a cop, anytime someone starts becoming a no person, and I know people get confused when I say a no person, that I think everybody should be a sheep and comply. That's not necessarily a no person. It's more of a totality of what's the call, what's the situation, how am I handling, is there multiple people, am I outnumbered, is there weapons involved, is there not? I mean, if this was a contact for somebody called him in that he was smoking a cigarette and they thought it was weed and he rolled down a window and he had a cigarette, then I agree, there's no reason for him to step out. Unfortunately, I think the Supreme Court has given tyrannical police the ability that we don't need a reason now to pull you out of the car. We can just get everybody out of the car. If I contact you, I can get you out of the car. And that's how cops have escalated this into, you know what, if you give me any attitude, I'll make you get out of the car. Then if I get out of the car, I'm allowed to pat you down for weapons. So now I'll infringe on your space and I'll put my hands all over you and feel whether or not you have a weapon. And then if I feel any resistance or you don't like it, then I'll use that as justification to say you resisted, and then I'll arrest you. And it's all approved by the Supreme Court, brought to you by tyranny.com.
Okay, we have to identify everybody in this house.
Okay, I'll tell you.
You understand? Okay, do you have your ID on you?
Huh?
You have ID?
I don't have...
Okay, so the cop kind of caught himself. Guy didn't want to get out of the car, so he's now downgraded to where the only reason I want you out of the car is so I can ID you. Now, if you give me some ID, maybe you don't have to get out of the car. So he's negotiating with the guy a little bit.
ID, but I can tell you my name.
Okay, guy says, I don't have ID, but I can give you a name. I'm telling you, as a cop, there's all kind of flags here. Guy doesn't want to get out of the car. He's passed out. He probably wasn't passed out. He saw the cops and went, I'm going to lay my seat down and hide. Maybe they won't see me. And that's why he was hiding in there. Rick, you can't say that. You're judgmental. And I'm telling you, that's what the guy did. He wasn't freaking sleeping in a car in a driveway and when the cops suddenly showed up. I mean, what are the odds of that? Okay, slim to none, and Slim left town.
What's your last name?
Garcia.
What's your first name?
It's Garcia-Salazar. First name is Sanders.
Okay, this guy's making up a false name. He's lying. He can't even think of his false name. If he isn't making up a false name, he's freaking drunk or under the influence. He probably shouldn't be driving. The PC is growing, again, the longer I contact. Now, I want you to realize these cops are still standing out in the open when they're at a house that they haven't cleared and they don't know who's inside on a call to where a guy stabs somebody and possibly has a gun. So officer safety for these knuckleheads are not my greatest. This guy's trying to identify this guy. I'm okay with what this cop's doing. He may not be as articulate as I would like for if I was defending this in court. And a lot of times when I'm cracking on the cops, I'm trying to explain to you how it's not going to play out well in court. And people, well, you ain't on the cops and you don't. Shut up, freaking crybabies. Oh, wait. I just remembered. My name changed. It's not Salazar, Martinez, Garcia, Hernandez. It's Garcia, Hernandez, Jose, Felipe, Hernandez. Yeah, that's it. That's my name. That's not a clue.
Don't lie to me, man, because if you lie to me, I'm going to take you to jail. Don't lie to me.
Okay, again, this guy's got his gun hand. He's writing with his right hand. He's got a pad and a gun. Is he worried? Does he think this guy's a danger right now? Right now, he's not treating as it is. Earlier, he was saying he didn't want to get run over and he needed the guy to step out because now he's got his pen in his hand. Again, the officer's actions are not consistent with him using, I was in fear of my life and this was an officer safety contact. When I contacted somebody like this, my hand was on my gun. Okay? If I need to write something down, either I had a partner that was covering him or I backed away. I mean, I just don't remember writing things down. Usually I wouldn't write things down. You either give me your info or you're not. We're going at gunpoint. I'm not messing around. I'm at a place where a violent felony occurred and you're being uncooperative and you're sending off hinky signals and I ain't going to deal with you. My hand's on my gun. You either give me your ID, you give me something, give me the registration, give me something with your name on it. I can walk away and go run it from a point of safety. I'm not going to write down without another officer covering me. Rick, you were a pussy and you were scared. Shut up. I didn't have to shoot anybody and nobody shot me. And after 30 years of dealing with a lot of bad guys, taking a lot of felonies and guns and knives from people, that says something. It says a lot more than the idiots out there teaching you idiots who ain't done nothing but freaking preach at a church and give freaking watch videos and claim to be an expert.
So what's your name?
Yeah, like this shot.
Okay, I don't care about a stupid misdemeanor ticket.
Okay, so this cop, and I've told people that, and cops will tell me, you're full of shit. You wouldn't let somebody go with a misdemeanor warrant. Dude, I let so many damn people go with warrants. I let people go with felony warrants if it was a bullshit felony warrant. I mean, these cops who work in these small towns that don't deal with this every day, everybody I contacted had a freaking warrant. If I arrested everybody with everybody warrant, I'd have never got any damn work done. I'd have been booking people in jail all day. So, you know, this cop is like, man, I ain't worried about no damn misdemeanor. I believe it. This cop's like, look, dude, I don't give a shit about a misdemeanor warrant. Give me your name. Make sure you don't have a felony warrant. You're not an armed, dangerous felon. You're not a parolee on the run. That's all I'm concerned with. The guy hasn't asked him if he's on parole probation. That's always my first thing, my go-to. Are you on probation? Part of the terms is you have to do it. Some people get offended. What makes you think I'm on parole? You're racial. I ask everybody. I don't care what color you were. Because if you're on parole probation, you got to tell me. And if I find out later that was a violation of your terms because you didn't tell me. So this guy hasn't asked that yet, which tells me any street savvy road cop who's worked the streets in the real bad areas, you can just tell by the way they handle and get down to business when you're dealing with these people, whether or not they know what's up. I ain't playing games. You already gave me a false name. Get your ass out of the car. Right now, you're under arrest for giving me false information. You're refusing to identify. I don't know who the hell you are. You're acting hinky. You're in a freaking car. You're at a scene where a felony committed, and you're trying to conceal your identity. I ain't fucking playing with you. Keep your fucking hands up and get out of the car. And that's the way this contact probably would have went. I'm not playing this PC, let's freaking make friends. Let's make sure we're YouTube friendly and we're combining with community standards when we're contacting violent felons. Okay?
If you have a misdemeanor warrant, I don't care.
All right, so my name is John. First name John.
The guy just admitted now to giving you false information. What makes you think he's suddenly going to be truthful? Well, Rick, maybe he found Jesus in a few seconds and he decided to turn his life around and you're just judging him and shut up, you freaking idiots. That's why you'd be dead if you were out there instead of sitting here behind your damn computer giving me advice.
John, what?
Salazar.
What's your second last name?
A lot of times Hispanics will have multiple last names and they'll use them, switching them. So if you run them by their middle last name versus their last name, you won't get a hit if they have a warrant. So ask, this guy obviously knows this. He goes, what's your second name? He wants to know so he can run them both. Because when I pull this into dispatch, I'm going to say check both. And a lot of times when you run somebody, it will give AKAs, also known as, or this person has also used names of blah, 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 where they switch their names. I mean, I'm going to say 75% of the people I contacted had multiple AKAs when I ran them. They never used the same name or their real name. They used their brother's name. They'd switch their name. They'd change a first name. They'd change a second name. They'd add an S, take an S away, whatever.
Huh? What's your birthday?
The fact that he knew how to spell Venezuela when he said it tells me he works with a lot of Hispanics. Because most cops wouldn't know that. I work with a lot of Hispanics. And I'm not sure I would know how to spell it. Maybe when I was working and writing it down a lot.
What's your birthday?
Eventually,
Okay, so I want you to watch this guy's hands. Doing this whole thing, I meant to bring that up earlier. His hands keep moving from the wheel to the wall. He's nervous. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. And when I say that, it just means it's got unnatural movements. If he was tired or just relaxing, his hands are probably going to stay still. They may go to his lap. They may scratch once in a while. This guy's hands are pretty active. It's going to the door. He's rolled up the window. He's rolled down the window. He's touched. He's clenched. Watch his hands. And to me, he's telegraphing he's about to do something with his hands and he doesn't know when or what's a good time. This is telegraphic talking to me when I'm watching behavior.
Eventually, the sergeant on scene comes to tell Garcia that he needs to...
Who is this woman talking? I mean, how does she know? Is she just interpreting what somebody did? Was this put out when dispatch released it? They had the spokesperson?
Get out of the crime scene.
Is there a reason you're not getting out of the car?
Okay, are we worried about this guy? Is he a danger? Guy's got both hands up by his vest. Common position, I get it. It keeps it cool, lets airflow. It keeps your hands empty. You can move straight down to your weapon. But again, why isn't his hand on his weapon?
Well, right now, we've got reports that somebody was stabbed at this house, so we need to figure out who everybody is and whether or not you're involved in that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good definition. We got to figure out who you are and whether you're involved. I'm okay with that.
Okay. Well, because there's a stabbing at the house, we need to get everybody out of here, because if this turns into some kind of shooting, I don't need you sitting here getting shot. Well,
okay, that's a good point. It's good justification. The only problem is, officer, when you're on a stand, if you were really concerned about somebody getting a shooting and getting everybody out, why are you standing in the driveway in the wide open area to where you could be shot? How can you claim you're doing this in case there's a shooting, yet you're acting like this is a secure scene and you're not worried about anything? You're standing out in the freaking open. See, conflicting behavior with statements is where cops lose credibility and where they can be questioned. And then the jury goes, nah, I don't believe this guy. He sounds like he's full of shit. They're just making this shit up. And unfortunately, nowadays, I think they're probably right. I think cops do just make shit up after the fact.
well, we're shooting and then blaming us.
Oh, he don't want to get blamed. So he wants to protect him. He's trying to help the pesky citizen. That's it.
Okay.
Garcia keeps talking about the car and how he can't take the car and needs to get out.
Okay.
Who is this woman? Would somebody please tell me who this woman talking is?
We got called out here because somebody was stabbed. So now this is a scene. I can't let stuff leave the scene, and I need to get everybody out of my scene. Right now, you're the only person that's still in my crime scene. You understand that? What's that? Well, there's going to be, everybody in there is going to be getting out too. That's what we're trying to do right now, is get everybody removed from the scene. Okay. You're going to be removed from the vehicle if you don't get out of the car. Do you understand that?
11 minutes after his first contact with officers, Garcia rolls up the window. Less than 1 minute later, an officer notices Garcia has a gun.
Okay, so this whole time he's been there, didn't see a gun. And then after he rolls the window, he does see a gun. Now, again, I don't know who this woman is. I don't know what her expertise is. I don't know if she's just relaying what she was told. Hell, as far as I'm concerned, this could be Avs talking in the background, which doesn't... I don't like somebody telling me what's happening when there's video available. How did this car suddenly get here? What happened or what changed? What was said in between this car suddenly freaking magically being beamed down from the freaking Enterprise on how it got there?
Garcia rolls up the window. Less than 1 minute later, an officer notices Garcia has a gun.
Okay? When he notices his gun, he pulls his gun out. I believe from this that he actually did see it. He didn't pull it out like, I'm going to pull it out and say I saw a gun. His recovery of his gun from his weapon, or his drawing of his weapon from his holster, was immediate and distinct, and it almost looked like it was instinctive as soon as he saw the gun. Watch his reaction to get his gun out. It's not like, let me just undo my gun and draw the gun and then I'll say I saw a gun.
Window. Less than 1 minute later, an officer notices Garcia has a gun.
He's got a gun. Hey, what the fucking... Get your hand off the gun!
Okay, so now we've screwed around with this guy for so long. We've blocked his vehicle in with this, and we don't know what happened. Maybe this woman who's talking in the background can explain how this car got here, whoever she is. And now we have these guys running around surrounding the car with a gun, because he's got a gun. Now, this call was for a guy with a gun who possibly stabbed. My guess is that this is maybe the stabber, but according to the title on this, it says the shooting of James Garcia, and they're looking for an Eric somebody. Maybe they had the wrong name to begin with. I don't know.
Hand off the fucking gun!
Officers ordered Garcia to drop the gun, but he refused.
Who the hell is this woman saying they or? I don't get it.
Fire. Hey, watch.
Dude, you got dark blue and light blue. What the?
Fucking gun!
Officers ordered Garcia.
Look at this, man. You got a black vest, a black shirt, dark blue. Come on, dude. Get some matching. You need some pink in there.
To drop the gun, but he refused.
Watch the crossfire. Hey, watch the crossfire.
Watch the crossfire. You got two cops over here and you got a cop over here. You got a damn crossfire. What do you mean, watch it? Maybe you should not cause it instead of watching it.
Let go of the goddamn gun!
Here is the entire incident from the moment the officer notices the gun through the shooting from the body-worn camera on the first officer who fired his weapon.
I can't see his fucking hands. He's got a gun. Hey, get your hand off the gun! Get your hand off the fucking gun!
Okay, so right here, I'm surprised the guy didn't shoot him. He's got his hand on his gun. He's at a scene of a shooting. I think he would probably be I know he would be justified. Hell, they could have shot him when they walked up and it'd be justified. But I think he's pretty clear that the guy's given a false name. He said he's had a misdemeanor warrant, which he probably lied, just like he lied about his false name. I have no reason to believe this guy. He won't get out of the car, and now he's got his hand on a gun. He's getting real close to where this is a pretty good justified shooting.
Get your fucking hand off the gun!
Again, I can tell by this guy's voice and the way he's talking that he is legitimately worried that this guy is going to shoot him, and he's being damn serious. Yeah, a lot of people will be like, oh, cops always say they smell marijuana or they saw a gun. Cops do that. And the totality of their behavior will usually tell on them. But I'm telling you, this guy legitimately sees a gun, and he's not fucking around with this dude. He's going to shoot him if he messes around with that gun, which I'm okay with.
Hey, watch the crossfire.
Now, my point here is he's been in the car. He's not going anywhere. We've got the car blocked in. Why can't we tell officers, everybody back away, let's stage, he can't get out of the car, everybody create some distance, let's get behind some cover so we don't have to shoot him and empty our magazines, let's disengage and secure. I mean, this is what we would call an inner perimeter, outer perimeter. We've got the guy locked down. The suspect isn't going anywhere. Why is there a need to stay right next to him until we can shoot him? Why is there a need to stand right next to him so we can say when we shoot him, well, we didn't have any cover and we were exposed, therefore we had to shoot him? This is like jumping in front of a moving car and then shooting the guy saying, I was in fear of my life, thought he's going to run me over. These cops are putting themselves in danger, and then they're going to say I had to shoot him because I was in danger. I mean, the cops' tactics nowadays, nobody holds government or cops accountable. It's just crazy.
Let go of the goddamn gun! Hey, let go of that fucking gun!
While you can't hear it, you can see Garcia mouth to the officer multiple times, shoot me, shoot me.
Come over here!
I can't see that, but thanks for whoever you are coming in with that little bits of information.
Get behind me!
Bring him back.
You right? Is it in his right hand? It's in his right hand. If he lifts it up anywhere, he's pointed it down, it's up. Hey, do not fucking move it, I will fucking shoot you!
Okay, I see now that he is saying shoot me. He's obviously lit up a cigarette. He didn't have a cigarette earlier. Crooks, a lot of times, especially when I've dealt with parolees, right before they were going to make their break, they'd ask for a cigarette or light one up. And I could see him smoking. A cigarette, for some reason, is almost like a conditioned response for smokers. When they get stressed, they need a cigarette. And right before criminals will do something, they're either going to light up or take a smoke or want to smoke or beg for a smoke or can I have one last smoke? When they say that, they're usually knowing I'm going to jail and I'm not going to get a smoke for a while and I want to get one in. That's a clue that they got a warrant, they know they got a warrant, or things about to go bad.
He's not dropping the goddamn gun.
Take the window.
Take the window out.
Okay. Why are we taking the window out? The guy's in the car. He's got a gun. We have multiple units. It's daylight. Nobody's in danger. Why don't we move away and treat this as a felony stop? A felony stop is not going up and busting the window out. A felony stop is you go back to your car, you stand behind cover, you get numbers, and you order the guy out. And you order him out until he follows your instructions. Or until you get more units. You get tactical units. You get tear gas. You get a dog. You delay. There's no reason to start busting out a window with a guy that's armed and now you shoot him. I mean, this is another shooting that cops create and then they cry, well, it was a dangerous situation and we're there to protect and we had to protect ourselves. And Rick, you're just picking on the cops and they had to do this because, we don't want a guy with a gun out there because we're the only ones that should have guns and be running around shooting freaking people for no reason. And now we have multiple cops opening up, a cop behind him firing here, and he's firing here. Perfect. Wow. Who could have predicted that?
You're not Eddie, are you?
Look at all the people. Lots of people here on this scene. Okay? Lots of people.
Get your hand off the fucking gun!
Here's a nice crossfire. This guy's here. I think this guy might end up moving behind him.
Get your fucking hand off the gun!
Great crossfire. Great crossfire.
Well, I can't see over here with the...
Great crossfire. Everybody understand? Some people may not know what I'm talking about when I'm saying crossfire. A crossfire is if this guy shoots, his bullets are going to hit another officer. If this officer shoots, his bullets are going to hit this officer. A crossfire is where you're hitting your friendlies. Friendlies are on all sides. It's like circle of wagons. If the cops circle this guy and they all shoot, they're all shooting at each other. That's what a crossfire is.
Watch crossfire.
Well, I can't see over here with the...
This guy right here should jump over the wall. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'll watch it this far. He should jump over the wall and move behind this guy so they're all shooting forward. And the suspect is the only one in danger if a bullet misses. But I don't know what happens.
Let go of the goddamn gun!
Better crossfire. This guy moves more into the direction of this gun, which puts his gun in the direction of this guy.
Hey! Let go of that fucking gun! Hey, if he lifts that gun up anymore, I'm shooting him.
Okay, I kind of got a little bit of problem with this because the cop looks like, because they're fuzzing his face, he takes his eye off the suspect and he's looking and talking to someone else. If he was really worried about getting shot, he would have locked and tunnel vision on the guy with the gun. The fact that he can look away and tell other people that he's going to shoot him isn't consistent that he's really fearful of getting shot. If you can take your eyes off the suspect, were you really that worried about getting shot?
Shooting him. Trudino, come over here. Get behind me.
Okay, so this cop directs him behind him. Good. But again, he's taking his eye off the suspect and he's directing other officers. Is this guy in the car that much of a threat? Why couldn't all three of them back away? They're closed here. They've got him in a perimeter. There's nobody in this car. Why do they need to force this shooting?
What, is it in his right hand?
It's in his right hand. If he lifts it up anywhere, he's pointed it down, it's up. Hey, do not fucking move it. I will fucking shoot you.
Now, I gotta admit, this cop right here, he's a meat-eater cop. He's not playing around. That's why he's not backing down. He's got this guy, and he's telling the guy, he's kind of directing the other officers. This guy is probably the more street savvy out of all these officers. And he's a little tunnel vision. If there was a supervisor there, I'd be like, dude, let's back away from the car. Leave him alone, back away. Let's create some distance. Let's get behind some cover. And let's stabilize this so we can make a more reasonable, non-chaotic decision on what to do. But nobody here is doing that.
He's not dropping the goddamn gun.
Take the window.
Take the window out.
So he hits the window twice. The guy probably moves his hand from the broken glass, and this guy fires. Point blank, pretty much. I mean, if he didn't kill the guy with the first round, I don't know how much closer you can get to kill a guy.
Open the goddamn gun.
Take the window.
Take the window out.
The gun remains in Garcia's lap after the shooting. Officers continue to shout commands.
He's still moving. He's still moving with the gun. Back up. Let me see your hand.
So all these people out here, when they're shooting from behind the car, are in danger of ricochets, stray bullets, etc. But Rick, it's officer safety and they have to go home at night and they're heroes and you just pick on them. All right, whatever.
Hands! Let me see your hands! Get your fucking hand off the gun! Get your hand off the gun!
He must have had 8, 10, 12 shots fired at point blank range and they're giving him commands. I'm going to take a swag here. This guy can't move. If he's moving, it's involuntary twitching.
Watch crossfire!
Where's the gun at?
It's in his lap. It's in his lap. He just let go of it.
Can we retrieve the gun and get him out and get him to fire?
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's get him. I'm really amazed that this thing hasn't been knocked over yet. I mean, I don't know if it's oil or water or whatever it is, but when all these cops run around and shots fired, nobody's knocked this over. I'm kind of amazed. This is like a lotto ticket winning.
Hey, let me glove up. Let me glove up. You have a rifle across the street on that Tahoe now.
Yeah, I got my rifle over there.
Where's the gun?
You good right here?
It's in his lap.
It's in his lap.
Okay, so we got the door open. This guy's got a gun. This guy's got a gun. He's not moving. They reach in and get the gun. Good. They should have done that earlier as far as I'm concerned. But again, I don't know how. They keep pausing and cutting, and this woman keeps coming in and talking. I don't know from where or how or where she's at, why she's saying what she's saying. But anyway,
Watch crossfire.
Gun is secure.
Once the gun was removed and secured, medical assistance was provided to Garcia, but he did not survive his injury.
okay, so this phantom voice from the background, from the heavens above, said he did not survive and medical was called. So I guess we believe that. I don't know. All right, we'll end that there.